Dynamite download.
AEW 2020, John Silver.
Special event, as you can see, SPD.
For a smashing good time. January recruitment month.
Come along, you know. I come along in the ring.
I mean, I would not want to. I would not want to.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome, everybody. I need to put on my light. There we go.
There we go. I can see.
Adjust
you
your headsets. It is SPD back in action on Dynamite Download. And, you know, we unfortunately had some issues last week with some crazy storms going through the Midwest. I was on vacation and no power over on the other guys over there. But we are back, ready to roll. We are buckle up. We are in the home stretch of leading up to All Out. And man, this was after tonight. There's two more Dynamites set for before All Out, and we started to see the landscape to change and everything to really start to take form a little bit. I mean, we still have a lot of things ahead of us. I'm just like scrolling through Twitter right now as well while we are talking live. Yeah. And someone just tweeted out MJF versus CM Punk at All Out. I mean, wow, would be pretty legendary. But I mean, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, I'm sure, Friday night on our new show, Rampage Rundown, which you guys kicked off last week without me, which was great. It was great stuff.
Great time.
But we'll talk about the card. And so we'll run through the card. I mean, we had, not in the typical Dynamite way, we had 5 matches versus 6. Leading up to tonight's show, Bonds, which one were you looking forward to the most?
Well, I mean, I'd have to say the fifth labor of Jericho. This has been set up for so long. They've done such a good job building this, and we were a little frustrated about how quickly the feud was going. You know, we were kind of hoping this match would take place at All Out, but
for sure,
the results, obviously, how it ended up tonight was awesome, and I can't complain, and I was not disappointed at all. This was a great match, and it was what I was looking forward to the most. What about you?
Definitely that, because I mean, I'm wearing my Inner Circle shirt for a reason. Even though, which we'll dive into deep a little bit later on the main event when we talk about it. But Inner Circle is represented very well tonight with Sami and with Chris Jericho, and it was a shame how things ended. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's all going to make sense, and it's great putting that young guy over. But speaking of putting people over, I mean, we kick things off Dynamite. Let's kick it off with Darby Allin and Sting versus 2.0. And I tweeted out for us, and I mean, first and foremost, got to give props where props are due. The crowd was so hot
they were into this
tonight
so much.
in Houston. If you paid close attention, which I got a text from a friend, I don't think the fans sat down once. No. Unless they just didn't sell seats because of standing room only, but I don't think they sat down once.
No,
and
man.
This, starting from the announcement of the Wild Thing kicking things off, Jon Moxley, to right into this match, this was an outstanding opening. You know, I like to try to predict the card order, and I was wrong once again. But this was, the crowd did great. And 2.0, boy, did they just tenfold their heat level with AEW fans on this segment, man. What did you think of this?
They came out so hot. Going after, Kingston and Moxley like that, that's the easiest way to get heat, is to go after those two guys and then go after Darby Allin, who was also like a darling in AEW, and they got heat like crazy. It was nuclear.
Oh, man. It was
awesome. Man, and the match itself held up as well. I think the beginning was really cool. They took a while to get going in the ring. They were out of the ring for a while. We got to see some cool spots from that as well.
Definitely.
And I like these guys, man. I like 2.0. I think they're cool. I like the pairing with Garcia, too. It seems like these guys are going to be in a lot of matches here based on later in the show as well. So
they're growing on me for sure.
Oh, for sure.
At first, like when I saw their promo, I think it was on
their dark
I remember
promo.
It was dark promo. I was like, who are these schmucks? Like, these guys are annoying. And then, I mean, that's their gimmick, and I'm starting to like it more and more quickly.
They're good
to
at
quickly rise. Like, you know, the Acclaimed, hopefully we'll be back. Crayfish, you know, huge fan of them, got me on them as well. And it took a little bit. With the 2.0, they're growing on me quicker.
It's fast. Yeah, very fast.
Definitely. You know, I don't think I'm still waiting for more impressive stuff in the ring to kind of be wowed.
Right now, the character work, though, is great.
Yeah, the character work is on point. Their nuclear heat, as you said, is on point right now. And it makes you just want to just like squish them like a bug for sure. And this was, you know, if Crayfish was here, he'd be tooting his horn nonstop the whole night. But this is the Darby Allin that I love. You know, teaming up with someone, getting those high spots in, and having the crowd just go, you know, bonkers for him. The Darby Allin that I am not for is that crash test dummy 90-10. The match where you get beat 90% of the time, 10% he gets that offense. So that being said, this Darby Allin I'm all for. I'll get on the train and I'll ride along with the conductor Crayfish to the Darby Allin Express. Choo choo is correct. If this is the Darby Allin we're going to get. For what it's worth, you know, I used to skateboard and I still longboard. To take a suplex on a skateboard upside down,
that looked disgusting.
That's not forgiving. That is as bad as it gets, you know, on your back, right on your spine.
There's no gimmicking a skateboard.
There is no gimmicking a skateboard, especially if you ride it. And so, but what'd you think of the finish, man?
Oh, it was cool. I love that Sting got, you know, like that Sting was the man there. It was so awesome. And he looked great tonight. He looked like $1 million, and he always does. That's the thing about Sting. Like, even though he is in his 60s, he looks great. You couldn't tell if you would ask somebody who doesn't know how old he is, how old you think this guy is, they would have no idea. Just based on what he does in the ring. And man, like that double Scorpion Deathlock was awesome.
That was cool. Very unique.
So cool. And I love this pairing of him and Darby Allin. I think it works really well. You know, Sting's a bigger guy, and Darby's able to take a lot of the bumps, and it's believable that he takes bumps. So having him paired with a veteran like Sting, who you probably don't want to take all those crazy bumps all the time because of, you know, his age. You don't want to do that. So you let Darby take some of the offense, and then you let Sting do his thing, get over with the crowd, keep building it up, and it's just it's a blast. And I think this is a cool pairing too, because man, like the heat the 2.0 got, man. Oh, it was funny. It was so funny. And then we just knew that as soon as they attacked those guys in the beginning, the Boo Birds just came out like crazy.
Did they ever?
It was a perfect great match.
It was a perfect way to start the show, of course. And, you know, as we see in the chat, you know, that no selling table bump was an awesome way. You're talking about not taking big bumps. And Sting has jumped off the poker chips. He's done some high spots. Now he takes a double table shot, or, you know, a double power bomb through the table. Man, the fact that he's at his age, and this is what I love about what AEW does, different than the Northeastern company versus the Southern company, is that they pair their veterans so well with the young talent.
Yeah.
Like, this is a pairing you wouldn't expect. Like, okay, if you're a casual fan and you don't really know about Sting and you just tune in, like, you have no idea who this is, you're like, okay, this pairing is cool, like face paint and like this combo, whatever. And then you have so many other ones throughout AEW. It's just like, it meshes so well and it does so great.
Yeah, I agree, man. I couldn't set it better myself. But speaking of good pairings, let's move on to the next match, because I really enjoyed from the beginning promo to the match itself, Shawn Spears versus Sammy Guevara. And congrats to Sami for getting engaged tonight. That was awesome.
Awesome.
And congrats to Shawn Spears for having your hilarious promo before the match at Sammy's expense.
Slim Pickets in Houston, as he said, not our words, his words. That was definitely a low blow for sure. But
savage.
Yes, it was savage.
Absolutely. But man, Sami kicks up the win here again, man. What do you think? Because, you know, Spears is really, really helping put Sami over. He's been a big part of the ascension of Sammy Guevara. And this match is just the next step in that. And I think that they kind of know, man, like, this kid has a lot of star power. The crowd is behind him again. It was Texas again, so that's good. You know, you keep bumping him up in his home state.
Sure.
It works out whenever they do that, it seems, with their talent. And I think that Spears, like even during the match, continued his weirdo sadistic behavior. He does his thing, and Tully, dude, tonight. Speaking of, dude, he was like, he looked like he was going to throw hands with Aubrey Edwards at one point, and
He
it was
did.
like, what are you doing? That was
I didn't know.
crazy.
You know, I mean, obviously these ladies and gentlemen in the ring are A-plus actors in a sense in terms of being able to sell. But I really honestly felt like Sami was stunned a little bit from that pile driver with Tully.
Like
I mean, he was favoring that neck a lot, and then it seemed like they were buying a lot of time in terms of with the shenanigans with Tully and things like that. I felt like that dragged out a little bit longer than it should have, because I honestly think he might have got his bell rung. And so I was legit like sold on that.
I was worried.
And then Sami somehow mustered up the adrenaline and whatever it may be, courage, the hometown, whatever, to still pull out this victory in an impressive way with all these moves. But all in all, like, I think this was probably my favorite match of the night, even though I am a huge Jericho mark. I think the back and forth of this, and I think we saw a lot of strength out of Spears, and the reason why he's in the Pinnacle and the reason why he is the chairman, he was very impressive. And I think this guy is being underutilized in AEW in a sense. And so this was, you know, but all in all, like, Sami is a freaking star. Like, we know that, and we see that, and his star is on the rise rapidly. The cutter off the coolest. Yeah, the GTH, that cutter off the top rope was perfectly executed.
Oh, that was awesome.
That's 630, man. And then they get the railing involved. I know. And so this, yes, Spears is putting Sami over twice, but at the same time, I think this was one of the better matches that Spears put on overall. He looked strong.
Yeah.
This is a great pairing. As soon as the Pinnacle and Inner Circle kind of went head to head when it first formed this feud, when you saw these guys go head to head, we're like, yes, this is going to be an awesome match, and it's a good pairing for Spears, who we haven't seen in so long. But I like this match, and Sami has to win in his hometown for sure on a special night.
Oh yeah, and they played it out perfectly, in my opinion. You know, like you said, Spears kind of went and did some stuff on him. Sami looked a little stunned at the beginning of the match, and he kind of was on the comeback for a lot of it, which was cool. And then once Sami, it seemed like once we got out of the picture-in-picture, Sami kind of went like crazy on offense. There was some cool stuff that cut her off the top rope. Probably the spot of the night in any of the matches. And then again, like on the barricade, like that looked like it didn't have any give, man. Spears has to be hurting after that. That was nasty.
Oh, I mean, some of those things are like, oh, I know if you watch BTE or Sami's vlog, you know, though Sami isn't shy about talking about, you know, taking pain and hurting, you know, even though it is part of the game. He doesn't wrestle 5 days a week or, you know, every week like Chris Jericho has been. I can't imagine what his body feels like right now. But yeah, the big spots that Sami hits are big spots. And he was bleeding at the end, but his hand was raised high in his backyard with his new fiance. It was definitely a special moment.
Because Spears, I saw, was bleeding from the face. I couldn't tell which one was bleeding.
I couldn't tell where it is from there, but you know, I know we already talked about we pre-pick our top performers. Yeah. And I wish I would have picked Sami, which it's a spoiler, I didn't pick Sami, but now that I'm talking through it, I did not pick Sami Guevara, which he deserves to be the top performer. Just kind of an honorary top performer because of his engagement, his win, his hometown, all that as well. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining us. Who have just joining us. Crayfish is down in Florida. He's just getting down there. We're hoping to have him on Rampage Rundown because it's going to be a monumental show this Friday. But Bonds is filling in, booking by Bonds. SPD is back, and we're moving on to a segment that was pretty interesting. We had Lambert on here spitting some true fire, and I know, you know, we're kind of split on this one. I think the stuff that we were getting out of him was actually like really smart and really truthful in a sense. And he was probably the heel of the night, in my opinion, in terms of just wanting to literally shut him up. I was like, oh my gosh, someone please shut him up. Yeah. And he was really saying some tough stuff, man. He is saying how the loudmouth want to be tough guys. And you're not here because you're hardcore, you're here because you're hung up. And I was like, wow. I mean, like some of these things, I know he had some backup, some tough guys that are, you know, MMA fighters. But I did not expect Lance Archer to get attacked from the back from the Men of the Year, which we haven't seen in a few weeks, who were on quite the roll leading up to that coffin match. But now they're gone. And I know Lance has had some issues with these guys in the past. So it's kind of rekindling, and I'm always almost hoping for someone to come out and help Lance, but he is that lone wolf.
Yeah.
But I know I enjoyed the segment, even though Dan was so annoying to me, but that's why. But what did you think about this segment?
He was also annoying to me. And to me, it just felt like kind of his own shtick that he does whenever he shows up at a wrestling show. This is his thing. So for me, it wasn't anything special. It wasn't a terrible segment. I wasn't like turning off my TV, but it was just like, okay, like we get it. You don't like current professional wrestling. You miss the Attitude Era, Dan. I get it. Like that's your shtick. That's cool. Honestly, him showing up with backup didn't really matter. So that whole setting up for that didn't really matter.
Right.
It was just one of those segments where it felt a little forced. You're kind of going after the crowd here. Obviously, you're getting heat. They already don't like you. And then your backups there are not really doing anything. And it felt like maybe a setup to get Lance involved with Men of the Year, which is the best part of it.
Sure.
Hopefully now the feud is going to be Lance versus Men of the Year. And that's where I'm hoping goes. Because, man, I was bummed that they haven't been on TV,
Do you think it'd be a handicap match? Do you think he'll get a partner?
Who knows? With Lance. Maybe you could set up Lance as
Jake the Snake?
guy with, oh, gosh. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows, man? We're seeing Big Show later, and so we might see Jake the Snake in a match.
Paul White.
Paul White. Sorry, he's Big Show.
No, I mean, I think like what happens with Dan from here. I don't know if you keep bringing him back. I think his point was made. Mind Runner, I like where you see that Fuego as a partner. I know Big Murderhawk Monster did stick up for Fuego on Twitter this year. And it was well thought and very smart and made so much sense. But it would be cool to have maybe Lance go 1-on-2 versus them for a bit, and then a partner come out. If you want to have the pop or like a top pop, it would be have Fuego come out. Yes, it's kind of an odd pairing, but maybe a one-off thing if you want to just make this match kind of like a crowd pleaser victory. Then you're almost turning in the Men of the Year as jobbers, though, when these guys don't deserve to be jobbers.
No,
I don't know. It's a fine line, but we already saw a handicap match, though, Men of the Year versus Darby. So you're going to bring that back.
Maybe they're the handicap match guys.
Right.
But I'm just curious as where they're going to go because, like you said, we haven't seen them in a while, basically since Ethan Page lost, and this is their first appearance. And so that's the most curious part of this whole segment for me is, okay, like now we've got Men of the Year back. I want to see what happens. I want to see where Ethan Page goes, where Scorpio Sky goes, because Ethan Page was on a roll on the mic and he hasn't even been on TV. So if him and Lance and Scorpio and Lance have this feud going on or budding feud, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because these guys are all, and obviously we just saw Lance just lost his belt. Which
we need to talk about that on Friday.
We'll talk about that on Friday, but now Lance is open for feuds here. Yeah. He's not going to be defending his belt in Japan. So we'll see what happens.
The only way I support him losing that belt is that he's more featured here in AEW. But anyways, that's a sore subject for me because the guy deserves the moon and he's put in the hard work. But speaking of another match, this one was – I just said Sami versus Spears was my match of the night. This one was it was a flip of a coin because I am a huge fan of both these teams. I mean, I got my danglies in right now, even though I am a fan of both these teams. But wow, oh wow, was this such a high energy, high flying, back and forth. Crowd was so into it. Heck of a match. So much shenanigans after the match, during the match, all over the place. Don Callis on commentary. This was the perfect storm. A perfect storm of a match that we could potentially see a rematch at All Out. Or my predictions from months ago, Lucha Brothers getting the gold.
But who are all the teams that are going to be involved in the tournament?
Varsity Blondes versus Lucha Bros next week.
Yep.
And then on Rampage, you have Private Party versus Jurassic Express.
Ooh.
And then so you'll have, all four of those teams are
they all deserve a chance.
I agree. Completely agree. But Young Bucks and Jurassic Express for a title match, man, this was
Fire.
I can't say enough good stuff about this. As soon as this ended, I was like, replay? Can we just start it from the top and go again? And I'd be happy with
That's
that.
That's a 3 falls.
Yes, please. Best of 3 falls. Like, go back, get some cold spray, come back out and do it all over again, and we'll be happy. This is,
I agree.
I'm like lost for words because, you know, I'm a huge fan of Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
And we saw him look so strong tonight. I love his
He had
in-ring work.
Best offense he's had in a long time tonight.
He's been missed, and this is a reason why I'm such a huge fan of him, because a guy his size being able to do what he can do in terms of flipping, kicking, punching, power, all that, and mixed in one dinosaur storm is very impressive, and I absolutely loved it. And we got to see both teams show some amazing chemistry, amazing double team actions, and it was just a plus match, well wrestled show. But the shenanigans all throughout this, man, it was interesting. You know, Don Callis on commentary is always my favorite. And then it all hell broke loose as soon as Kenny Omega came out with that golden chair, and we had a Chick Magnet shirt on. We see destroyed.
Wonder
Marco.
who that's for.
And then one of my favorite parts of this, and one of my favorite members is Brandon Cutler, because that cold spray, which we're going to get for some All Out for our tailgating.
We're already ordering on Amazon.
Complimentary cold spray if you come see us if you need a quick hit. Is that he's kicking them, then he sprays them. Kick spray, kick spray, kick spray. It's like, isn't the spray supposed to like heal you? So you're like hurting them, then healing them, and just like constantly spraying, man. That guy is eating up that character so much, man.
He's hilarious.
The amount of false finishes in this match, like everyone got their high spots, and I'm kind of surprised Jungle Boy took the pin, but I mean, not many people are kicking out with that finisher from the Young Bucks these days.
No, it's hard to pin Luchasaurus. He's a big guy. You have to protect your big men. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I completely agree. Great match, start to finish. The shenanigans were a little annoying at times, but the thing I was most surprised about is how little help they had. They didn't have anybody really come out and, you know, lend aid. You know, we didn't see Frankie Kazarian.
True.
We didn't see anybody else come out there and like
Christian Cage though.
Yeah, Christian Cage did.
He tried.
He tried, but it was when there's 15 people that you're going up against, it's hard to do anything really. It's they're controlling the belts, man. They have it well to a science right now. They're just doing whatever they can to keep it, you know, and keep the matches relatively clean from the referee's perspective. They're not seeing most of this stuff going on, which is crazy to me, man. It must be like a blind refs in AEW.
Well, it's always the same ref of their match. Do you notice that?
That's fair, yeah. But you know, they're still doing like they kind of try to hide some of the cheating.
Right.
You know, they're still not exactly going after it. Like Brandon Cutler, when he goes on the side spraying people, he's being sneaky. He's sneaky Brandon. And I like it, man. He's hilarious. Probably one of my favorite parts of the Elite right now is just watching him do his stuff in the background. He's never like in the frame. He's just always doing background stuff. And it's always awesome and funny. And whether he's getting his butt kicked by somebody else or he's doing it himself, it's amazing. It's amazing.
His character work, his stooge work is just like spot on, and it's getting better and better. And props to him. Do you see? I mean, I know we've talked about this, which we can dive deep in more on Friday.
Yeah.
But do you still see this match going through with Cage and Omega? I mean, they're starting to hype it more. Do you still think that we're going to get the possible injury and not able to compete at All Out?
I don't know if we're going to have the not able to compete, but I do think that them attacking Christian is going to ultimately affect him winning the title. If he isn't able to go after the belt, or if he's going to be injured going into All Out, and maybe they're going to do something, they're going to do Swerve. I know that we were talking in our chat beforehand that maybe they're going to have Christian get hurt, and then they'll have maybe a new superstar who we don't know. We have no idea who it is going to be yet. Come out and debut. But I don't know if that's the case either, because that's, again, Tony Khan doesn't want to be accused of shooting people to the moon right away, having people win belts on their first night. So I don't know, man. This slow burn, I like it. And I think that Christian's one of those kind of performers that, if he is injured, they'll kind of play that up as well. Well, I know he's not obviously injured, but if they're playing up that angle, kind of like what Jericho did in the Labors of Jericho, where he was injured and went out there, and tonight it probably affected him in the main event. So that's something they could definitely play up. especially since Kenny almost lost his other belt against Andrade, last week as well. So there's a lot going on, man. The Elite are showing a lot of vulnerability, and their numbers are really the only thing that's keeping them champions. So if they have
power numbers for sure.
And we learned tonight as well that whoever wins this tournament, this tag team tournament, gets to face the Bucks in a steel cage. So that match, there's not going to be interference. That match is going to be straight up, and we're going to see who's going to actually be the tag champs, which will be cool. Because there's a lot of stuff going on, man. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of belts switching hands pretty soon. It's going to be like a new season of a TV show after a while.
I think for sure. Well, the two that I'm more confident of switching are tag belts and world title.
Which are the Elite's belts.
I know. The Elite crumbling at All Out so quickly, which is, about 18 days away, 17 days away, something like that.
I can't believe it, man.
It's pretty crazy. We're starting to shape up the card of All Out, which is very exciting because a few weeks ago on Friday Night Flights of Fights, we kind of did our own predictions, and we never predicted Paul White versus QT Marshall. And then
we should have, though.
When we talked to QT Marshall on our interview, he did say, kind of hinted that some big things might be coming around All Out, some big wink things, and he did say that they're going to sign The Rock too. So
there you go.
Clickbait, but it doesn't get bigger than Paul White in AEW, and it's great to see QT Marshall back on TV. I think the crowd was starting to get him some good heat, and the back and forth, and they've got a good chunk of TV. The segment was pretty long, and props to that because I was excited to see that. Them going back and forth, he made it real with the surgery photos, the scar, and things like that. Like, they brought it in, and then the look on QT Marshall's face, I think it should be a trending shot. I'm going to throw it up here in a second, but yeah, it's like, oops, I crapped my pants. We should start making memes out of this. It's like when you think it's a fart and it's not.
It was definitely not a fart tonight. Man, I would not want Paul White to be mad at me at a pay-per-view ready to go, dude, because they both had some good verbal spats back and forth tonight.
They did.
The fact that QT showed his surgery photos and talked about, oh man, like, he brought you in as an announcer, not a talent. You're here to do a job. You're not here to, be in the ring anymore. Insulting, Paul White's career in a sense. And then he tried to say, no, it's you, the crowd, insulting him. You respect him. Like, QT's great at getting heat. And people need to put some respect on his name because he's pretty damn good at his job. And man, tonight he just went all in on the going offense on show. And then once Paul White was like, hey, I have a match with you, he was not into it. He just dipped. He was out ASAP. And this was probably my favorite non-match segment of the night.
So many segments tonight.
So many segments, but this one hit very well. And Paul White also announced that he had some big announcement as well, which I don't know if it was his match with QT Marshall.
I think it was based on the vibe I was getting, but
fair enough. Yeah. So who knows if that's what it was, but I mean, I think that was part of why the crowd got so hot.
Right.
Because he had some big announcement, and then people keep seeing, want to know what's going on. We might have something coming on Friday in Chicago, United Center. Who knows? People are probably expecting something, and when QT goes and interrupts you when you're about to make a big announcement in these crazy days of pro wrestling, you don't want to interrupt people. People want to know what's going on because everybody's speculating. So this is a fun segment, man. I like the pairing of QT and Paul White. I think that having two awesome veterans in the ring, I'm going to be excited for that match being it all out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know Crayfish is going to be excited. He's going to be wearing his golf shirt. So we're going to have it's going to be a great time.
Maybe I know we're pitching the factory design on those bowling shirts. Maybe we can get one screen printed on there for his show. But I mean, I feel like Crayfish needs to bring like a wardrobe bag. So matches. Every match he can change. He can put his DMD shirt on, his QT Marshall bowling shirt, his Dynamite Download shirt, his FTR jacket in the works. But speaking of DMD, we're going to talk about her. And it wouldn't be a Dynamite. And this is what I've talked about in the past. Like, when you have a champion, a DMD is a perfect example. Like, it was someone who's featured, even if she doesn't wrestle every night, but just to have a segment like this to either hype a match or just to hype yourself is a way to showcase a champion time and time again. And the unfortunate part of that, when we never got that, was Shida. And so it just felt so afterthought. And now every single week, we either have DMD in the ring on a promo, in the ring wrestling, or in the backstage on a promo, setting something up for another show. And so this was another example, and we got to hear Jamie Hayter talk and set the match
Good
for.
promo from her too.
Great promo from her. Delivered very well. Props to her, changing her whole gimmick and her whole look. And we're going to see her in the ring. And she definitely, this type of booking, you have to put down Red Velvet, even though she's hot in terms of her record. You have to have her take another loss if you want to keep continuing. I think you'll have a DMD cheating or something like that, possibly, which to get more heat on, because quickly, that DMD is becoming the top baby face of the company. I mean, as we saw last week,
every week.
it is getting louder and louder. It's a natural transition. And Crayfish does not want to hear it, but she's coming over to Team Babyface with SPD quicker than you expect that for sure.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And I think that, Red Velvet's a good opponent for this kind of match as well. Like, they have somebody who's high up in the rankings who Britt Baker just beat, and you'll be able to put, you'll be able to sell Hayter as this enforcer, hopefully against Red Velvet. And, everybody's excited about Hayter's return too. So it's not going to be a big loss for Red Velvet, especially since he just lost a title match. You're not feeding somebody the wolves who's a current contender. And honestly, I really enjoyed the insults here. Red Velvet said that Britt Baker doesn't look good in red, and she goes, "Well, you don't have gold, and you'll never have it." That's not
right.
Your
that was a great one-liner.
Great one-liner, and yeah, man. Another great promo. There was no bad promos this week. It was a pretty good, straightforward show where everything just went kind of quick, breakneck pace. And this was another one of those segments where it's like, man, like I wish they had more time, but I understand why because of how much they had to fit in.
I mean, with 5 matches and about 8 different segments they had, geez, I don't even know how many segments, but it was a lot of stuff, and that just kept the ball rolling right into the women's match. Which when this got announced, I liked how they tied in storylines from Dark and Elevation and twisted into Dynamite. So it makes you as a casual fan or a AEW fan to watch all these platforms, because I'm not consistent on my Elevation and Dark. I mean, it's a lot of wrestling. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now we have a special edition tomorrow and Friday. It's a lot to keep up. And I do skim through Dark and Elevation a little bit, and watch my favorites. Watch the matches that I'm excited for. And when Thunder came out to her Mission Pro's aid and scared away Penelope Ford and then set up this match, I was really excited because we have unanimously love both these in-ring styles and what they've been doing as of late in AEW. So I think the pairing of Ford and Thunder was fantastic. I think that great power out of both of them, great mat work as well out of both of them.
Was great.
And as expected, we got a huge pop for Thunder. The Texas flag gear, all that and stuff. As I see in the comments, I know we did Penelope forget her gear. Mine. There was a post I did see online that her luggage was stuck somewhere. So I don't know.
No.
But I thought that was golden rule number 1 as a performer: always have your gear on you. So I don't know, who knows, but it worked. I think it looked good and it worked. So whatever. But Thunder, the biggest heel of the night again. The picture-in-picture always happens in the women's match, which I'm so sick of.
At least we got a little bit of a match before it.
We did. We got some back and forth stuff for sure. You always know it's going to be a good match when Thunder Rosa is involved, and we had the number 2 and number 5 contenders going head to head on this, and it delivered. In an inch, near the end, those false finishes, going back and forth of submissions, and then ultimately Thunder getting that submission. It's great to see her on Dynamite, and it never disappoints for sure.
Oh no, man! And this was Thunder's match as well. I think. In a lot of ways, Ford is great, but they were able to kind of have Thunder on the comeback trail towards the end, and it was a really big win for her, especially as the number 2 ranked woman right now. And Ford being number 5, this is huge because now we're starting to see like, man, she's creeping up those rankings for that
Sure.
rematch with the DMD. And
I think they're kind of avoiding that, like talking about that, because we know it's going to be like an explosive.
It's going to be huge, especially now that Thunder signed Bridge the Champ. They had the best feud, one of the best feuds earlier in the year already.
Of course,
and now, with Brit as the champ and Thunder going through the division and beating somebody like Ford, who again, number 5 competitor, and they went back and forth, had a great match. So, now that Thunder is going to be pushed up even more, like, is she be number 1 next week? That's the thing. Like, it's hard to tell. And who knows what the game plan with that is, because, we obviously want to see that match with Britt Baker again. That's like the next big women's match we want to see, but it feels like Statlander's next in line. Is she next in line after Statlander? Because, we don't see Statlander and, Thunder Rosa being a feud because they're both baby faces.
Sure.
Obviously, we're stoked for that big feud coming up, but it's I want to see it soon, man. I wish it was at All Out, but we have to wait.
We don't have any women's matches set for All Out right now. No. So I mean, aren't we getting the Battle Royal? Wasn't that supposed to be at All Out for sure?
Yes.
So that we'll have a Battle Royale at All Out, women's Battle Royale.
Got to have a champion match though.
You got to have a championship match, or at least the championship match involved in something, whether it be a tag match or something like that. So we'll be in store for that, which would be great. So next up, we're going to talk about, as we're rolling through the show, thank you everyone once again for joining us. Crayfish is down in Florida on vacation for a few days, get some R&R before we push really hard for our all-out weekend. And once again, we will be going live right after Rampage Friday night. Rampage Rundown, our new show. It's going to be great. And we hope to just be jumping for joy, doing cartwheels versus, the card is great. I mean, I think the card is cool. I mean, we got this man, Jon Moxley, headlining the main event for that. We got Private Party versus Jurassic Express, and we got Jade making her Rampage debut versus Kiera Hogan. So I think it's a good blend of matches. You got a tag, a women's, and a singles. And then who else knows what's going to happen? So
yeah, the chick magnet, the Miz might be there.
Yeah, for sure. So this was an unexpected. I mean, Moxley started the show and then quickly wasn't seen until now, this promo, and it went on, and boy, can he deliver a promo. Boy, can he spit fire. He's sending a message, man, and he wants to know if Daniel Garcia's got what it takes to be at the top of the food chain. If he really wants to be here, ask yourself if you really want to be here. This is not a joke, man. And he called out everyone.
Oh, and man, he called out Hangman, Kenny, everybody. All bets were off, dude. All bets were off.
And we've kind of haven't seen Mox in a while. After that brutal tag match versus the Young Bucks, he took 3 or 4 V triggers. And then we haven't seen much about him. So it's a friendly reminder. Obviously, he's so over with the fans. It's a friendly reminder that he was the guy who carried the company. He was the guy. He is the top dog.
John Knox.
He is, yes. And so we need to see that. Daniel Garcia, a new face here in AEW. I almost feel like we're going to probably see some decent wrestling out of Daniel, but I almost feel like John should just put him down and shut him up quickly. Be done. We're going to have 2.0, I'm sure, get involved. And then ultimately to a 6-man probably the following week. But I think this element, you need to put him down and teach him a lesson. If you want to roll with the big wolves, you need to,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be more of this isn't a game, kid. This isn't a game. You guys, you and 2.0 can have your fun, but I'm here to be the champ. I'm here to be the man. And if you're going to mess around in my business, you're going to feel the pain. And that's pretty much what he said in a lot more words tonight. And it was a good promo, man. Moxley is top notch. One of the best in the business on the mic. And he is so intense and different than anybody else. There's nobody else really has his aura and his intensity. Very different. Even somebody like MJF, who's amazing on the microphone, probably the best on the microphone right now. He's not as intense and almost terrifying as Moxley. And man, he really he wants a piece of Daniel Garcia, because that you could tell he was
Cheap
not
shot.
happy that cheap shot happened, and he didn't even get involved. Like, we saw Eddie Kingston get involved during that opener, but we didn't see Moxley get involved after that. So
Sure.
he was gone. He was seething in anger the whole show. You could tell.
Was he ever?
Yeah.
So it was a great unexpected promo, a great reminder of why Moxley is Moxley and the top guy, and someone that is going for the top guy position is MJF. And
the number one pick.
Whew, man, that was your number one pick in our Dynamite Download Fantasy Draft, which was a lot of fun. I still think my team is the best team, and Crayfish isn't on here to wow. Let's put up a new vote. We need to have a minimum 100 votes on that. We need a recount on that. But MJF, Chris Jericho, the fifth labor of Jericho, Chapter 5, came to a halting stop when Jericho tapped out, man.
Huge.
First and foremost, the fans were great, man. The crowd sang along. They did so great. Jericho had to have chills running down his spine because of how cool it is to have your song that you sing, not just your ring song, your song that you sing,
your song.
A sold-out stadium singing your song. So, like, that was a cool moment for sure. It was a great back and forth match. And, Jericho was on the offense most of the time. The graphic is another cool graphic on it that AEW does so well. And I agree with the announcement that there's no one hotter than Jericho right now. And MJF, for him to go over on Jericho, was a
3-0.
Smart move. I think you guys were trying to make me cry on Friday Night Fights and Flights one time about how it would be like a retirement match, and I'm so glad it's not as of now. I'm shocked that this was on a Dynamite versus not a pay-per-view match as well. But for it to main event this and kind of not get outshined by other event matches potentially on a pay-per-view stack card, even though this was a stack card tonight, was a good way to end the show. But it's a bummer way to end the show. I mean, I got my Inner Circle shirt on. I'm a huge Inner Circle fan. Jericho was tapping out to that Salt of the Earth, man. What did you think?
Oh, man, this is my match of the night. Definitely. I loved it. And like you said, Jericho was on the offense for a lot of it, but he also felt like he was on his heels. He kind of knew, I need to take him out quick. I need to take him out because I'm injured. And MJF, to his credit, played it as smart as he could, man. He went after his elbow the entire match. He tried to injure Chris Jericho. He didn't want to just beat him. He wanted to end him. And it showed up, man. Like, he hit that Judas effect on Jericho. Jericho almost messed up and hit it on MJF. He stopped himself at the last second.
I know.
And he set up MJF to hit it on him. And he lands that Judas effect and then digs in that Salt of the Earth. And, man, Jericho's elbow felt like it was about to explode, it looked like, on the screen. And he had to tap out. And that ending was perfect. I can say that was a perfect ending to that match. Perfect ending to the labors of Jericho. I wish it was at All Out, but I'm happy with the match, and I'm happy with the presentation. It was a great match itself. And while I'm disappointed it wasn't on a slightly bigger stage, man, having it as the main events of Dynamite are big anymore. They're always important. So having that match to end Dynamite, especially right before the big show at Rampage, there's a lot of eyes on AEW right now. It was a good payoff for everybody that's been invested in this feud, and who knows if it's over. We'll see. Obviously, Jericho, it wasn't a retirement thing like I was predicting a couple of weeks ago. This was just a straight up, fifth labor, and who knows what's next. And maybe we'll finally see a different feud for the Pinnacle and Inner Circle, or we'll just continue to see maybe more MJF and Jericho. I'm down because this match was awesome.
I was hoping for that this would kind of like spark another team versus team battle or something at the end.
Yeah.
It was a cleanish win, and then
Jericho
shit talker,
his
shit talker leaving the way with his scarf around his neck, or it could have gone in a way. I guess it was too close to All Out if they have some plans for it, where MJF really does the Salt of the Earth like really bad, and then he does twist it one more time and essentially breaks Jericho's arm. Yeah. And that would have forced him to tap out because he literally broke his arm. I know he already is on the injured arm anyway, so it's even hard. But we're talking about, I know Jericho is going on tour with Fozzy, but I checked all the dates and all the dates that Fozzy is on, not one Wednesday. So
Yep.
Jericho, I know, is a jet flying, limousine riding, private jetter. So he's done a show. He's
Yep.
done a show and flown to a wrestling match before, 2 in one night. So I wouldn't put it past him, and that's pretty impressive stuff. But I hope we don't have any Inner Circle Pinnacle matches set for All Out. I mean, we only have 4 matches set for All Out right now. The next one is on the line. The Young Bucks putting their tag team titles on the line, but it's got to be at least, in past history, 7 to 8 matches on the card plus a buy-in match.
So we got 5 technically.
So we got Kenny versus Cage.
Yeah.
Pac versus Andrade with a laundry list of
the huge
binding contract.
Yeah.
Then we also have Young Bucks versus TBD, which is hopefully Lucha Brothers.
QT and Paul
QT
White.
Marshall versus Paul White. And is that it?
Is that it?
Yeah, because we had 2 announced last
Battle
year.
Royale.
The Women's Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So it's 5.
So it's 5.
Dang, that's...
So it's getting packed pretty quick, man.
It is.
Before tonight, we didn't know what we were wondering what was going to happen. We're like, man, they're really just milking this setup for some of these matches, and it's cool they're finally getting some stuff on. But you're right, man. I want to see Inner Circle and Pinnacle. These guys have been in every the major matches have been these guys in the last 6 months or so, and I want to see them on the big stage at All Out in Chicago, that hot crowd. Chicago's got the best wrestling crowd.
Gosh.
We want to see those guys in there, man. Like, I'd love to just see have another elimination tag match or something. Who cares? Have a one-off. That'd be fine with me. But, obviously there's going to be some setup here. Sami's hot as well. Maybe we'll start seeing that be set up beforehand. Sami just beat Spears again. So maybe he's going to start moving up the totem pole on the Pinnacle as well.
Right.
Especially, since, Cash and Dax had that match as well, against Proud and Powerful. So we have to see that rematch because they set that up a couple weeks ago, and we're still waiting on that rematch as well. Maybe we'll see that at All Out. Who knows? It's crazy. We have no idea, and there's only a couple more weeks.
2 Dynamites.
2 Dynamites.
Oh, 5 shows if you're counting Rampage. But it's like, I mean, we need, which we've had, and I think Pen kept saying in our chat, like, Miro won't be on the card, and it's starting to look like that almost. Just like we need and want a Miro, we want a Lance Archer, we want to have Inner Circle, we want DMD, we want obviously Darby Allin, Crayfish wants that, like all these people on the card with that's filling up fast. Like, there's always another kind of parlay men's one where it's like it can feature like 8 to 10 people or 4 teams or something like that. So I have a feeling they'll do that.
That might be the way to go with this one for sure, especially after this. Jericho, man, like he might take some time off with that elbow, man. That he's got to be hurting because that looked nasty tonight. Absolutely nasty.
It did look nasty tonight.
Speaking of nasty, what is your top performer? Who is your performer of the night? Since it's not Sami Guevara.
So who do you think it is?
Is it Chris Jericho?
It's not. It is one of my favorites, Luchasaurus.
Ooh, Luchasaurus.
So kind of the underdog, I guess an underdog pick of the night. Yeah. Got to give credit where credit is due. The man showed up and really whooped some big time. And he was showing some great stuff. And I think all in all, yes, it could have been Sami Guevara. It could have been Chris Jericho. It could have been even Shawn Spears. Or, I'm never going to pick MJF, so that doesn't even count.
That's why I'm here.
That's right.
Yep.
Could have been, I'd say this out of spite, but it could have been Darby Allin, but, that would have been Crayfishes probably. But Luchasaurus, because of someone we haven't seen in a while, just kind of just resurfacing and showing us what he's all made of, and he showed up tonight and then some, in my opinion.
Oh, he looked great, man. I love the pick. I'm pretty hard on Luchasaurus in terms of his offense, and tonight is a really good night for him. He looked way better than usual, like just going in there, not just kicking people or doing choke slams. He went in there and did everything tonight. This wasn't just going in there for 30 seconds of offense and a big match. He wasn't lost in this match. sometimes I feel like they don't want to feature him because he is so big and so athletic. Tonight he was able to go out there and do his thing, and he did some great stuff, man. And it's a shame that they lost because I felt like him and Jungle Boy outperformed the Bucks tonight.
Right.
So it was a great showing from them, and I hope they have another chance at those belts because I think the crowd loves Jurassic Express, and they would be very over as champs.
I agree, and I think it's a win-win if you put Lucha Bros versus Jurassic Express. That's a win-win match, and then whoever wins that, and if they do dethrone the Young Bucks, that's another win-win for us all. Like you're going to get an awesome rematch or an awesome match out of that. So what made MJ? I know he was your number one pick, but what made him your top performer?
Oh man, just that main event was awesome, and he played it so well. He was so smart in his approach. Attacking that elbow was great. I love the psychology behind it. It was a very smart match. I think that whenever you're going against somebody like Chris Jericho, who's a 30-year veteran, you're going to have a good match. But he's also a wrestling savant, MJF, and he went in there, man, and just looked awesome, looked the part. Looked like a 30-year veteran himself. And to say that about a guy who's 25 years old is very impressive. He stole the show from me, especially at the end when he hit that Judas effect.
Yeah,
that was one of the cooler spots of the night. He just went in there and did the move that he banned Jericho from using.
Yeah,
very cool. That very MJF of him to do that. And then he goes in there and locks in salt to the earth. And I knew at the time left on in the show, I was like, oh man, is Jericho going to tap here? There's not much for anything else. And he tapped. He made Jericho tap. And that's making Chris Jericho tap after he went through hell for 5 weeks.
Sure.
That's enough to be the performer of the night, in my opinion.
I agree. And I mean, the top heel of the biz, and he showed up, and he's continuing his undefeated streak, quote unquote, for a while.
Hey, the Bucks have the same kind of undefeated streaks. So I'll take
That's true. But speaking of streaks, you won't have any streaks in your underwear if you get the "Oops, I Crap My Pants" QT Marshall version that Mind Runner has posted here. And so if you get these "Oops, I Crap My Pants" QT Marshall edition, you don't have to worry about those streaks in your underwear at all.
Oh,
so,
man.
Isn't that great?
A big show of poops right there.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
This is hilarious.
Nice. Oh, the super fluff kind too, man. You got those good ones, Mind Runner. Good job. That's awesome. Oh man, QT is going to have a rough time at All Out, but it will be a great time for us because we enjoy his performances and we enjoy AEW television. And thank you guys for joining us tonight.
I got to ask you real quick before we sign off. We will talk about a lot more segments, including the Team Taz one on Friday night after Rampage Rundown, because we got to digest that because we were like, what the heck is going on?
That was weird
on that one. I know we didn't cover them all, but we're going to talk about some of the ones we didn't talk about on Friday after our Rampage Rundown. But I want to know, what match are you looking forward to the most next week with Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson?
Yep.
Varsity Blondes versus Lucha Bros, Red Velvet versus Jamie Hayter, Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy.
I want to see, or is Daniel Garcia versus
that's Rampage.
Moxley? Oh, that's Rampage. Gotcha. Oh man, I'm excited to see Brock
Dynamite
again. I'm excited to see Brock again in the ring. I think the Malachi Black thing's be interesting because Malachi beat Cody so quickly. I want to see what the game plan is here with Brock. What are they going to do? How are they going to sell this? Because if you have him beat Cody Rhodes in 8 seconds or whatever it was,
a couple minutes short.
Yeah, it was a quick match. It wasn't 8 seconds. It was quick.
Yeah.
What is he going to do to a guy like Brock Anderson who's been wrestling for 6 months? He's been training a lot longer than that, obviously, and his dad's, Arn Anderson, so he knows the business well. But, Malachi Black's been in the ring for so long, and he's on a terror right now. So we'll see, man. I'm excited for that match just because I want to see more Malachi. I want to see what the game plan is with him, what the next step is, and if Brock can hold his own. I'm curious to see how he's presented against Malachi Black. What about you?
I mean, that's another one, he needs to be on the all-out card as well. I mean, this guy just had put Cody down out to pasture almost, and he's right now nothing lined up. Is Dustin going to step up to him, and is he going to just start to go through the factory? or excuse me, the Nightmare Family. But Varsity Blondes and Lucha Bros, Varsity Blondes right here, and Lucha Bros. Anytime I could see the Lucha Bros on TV, it's I'm a huge mark for them. So
they're
that
awesome.
is definitely my top match I'm looking forward to.
Great,
guys,
great pick, though.
Yeah, we're going to sign off for the night. Breeze through it. Crayfish, once again, if you're just joining us, is down there in Florida. Hopefully he'll be with us on Friday, TBD, for that after Awesome. But we will be back for our second episode of Rampage Rundown immediately following Rampage Friday night.
Maybe after the press conference, though, because there's a press conference right after Rampage.
There is?
Announced. Yeah. I wonder who's going to be in the press conference. They haven't had a press conference for any Dynamite before. But
where'd you see that?
Twitter. I guess there's a press conference after Rampage. So we'll see.
Oh, are we going to do a live watch along of that while we're waiting, or what?
We might have to, because if somebody debuts or something big happens, we might have to know all the details, what's going on. I don't know, though. I have no idea if anybody's. I'll have to look again and see where I found it. But
stay tuned to our Twitter, and Instagram for our updates of our showing. But Rampage Rundown will be after that. Try to get some sleep over the next few days, because Friday is going to be an awesome, exciting day for an AEW fan. When you sell out the biggest crowd or with no matches set, something big is going to happen. So
yes,
thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's always great chatting with you in chat. And we will see you on Friday night.
I wonder if CM Punk's going to debut on Friday night.
The Cookie Monster?
The Cookie Monster Punk?